Welcome to another episode on our Treats and Eats section for our Disney Copycat recipe video series. Today, we are going to be heading back to Epcot for my favorite festival that they do there, which is the Food and Wine Festival. Today's recipe is going to be pretty simple, but there are quite a few ingredients, as you can see here. I'm going to go ahead and put up that ingredient list for you. And again, if you need more time, go ahead and hit pause and get those down because there are quite a few of them. But we are doing a delicious Canadian cheddar cheese soup today, and it's going to be scrumptious. So get ready. What we're going to start with first is preparing some of our ingredients. Okay? First, we're going to chop up our bacon. I've got a ½ pound of bacon here, and you want to cut them into about a ½ inch pieces that you can just sprinkle into your soup. So we want to go ahead and cut these up now. Next, we're going to cut up our celery. We're going to chop it into pretty fine pieces to go into that soup. Next, we're going to chop up our red onion. You know it's a good onion if it makes you cry. And it's going to be a good soup when it makes you cry. And lastly, we're going to cut up the green onions. Now these are going to go on top after the soup is done, so you can make them in slices versus the finely chopped like we did with the celery and the red onion. Next, we're going to grate our white cheddar. And I recommend buying it in the block form versus buying it already pre-grated, because a lot of times when they pre-grate cheese, they put in preservatives in there to keep it from clumping, but those preservatives also make it not melt as smoothly as just a regular block of cheese will if you grate it yourself. So I got this really cool grater from Pampered Chef. You stick the grater cylinder in, and then you twist on the handle or the crank. It's got a lot of different little inserts so you can grate or shred or slice. So it's really nice. I really like it. It's pretty easy to use, and you can do it right or left-handed just depending on which way you stick the barrel in. So I'm going to go ahead and cut some chunks. Now that all our ingredients are ready, we're going to head over to the stove and get started. We're going to start with our bacon and get that going nice and light and brown. You'll just add it in there and stir it about 5 minutes. And again, you're going to want to get it to that nice brown color. Then you're going to want to stir in your onion and your celery. Just mix it in there. And you can't forget your 4 tablespoons of butter, so go ahead and get those in there too. And you're going to want to saute those onions and celery until they're nice and soft. Still over medium heat, we're going to add in our flour. We're going to want to stir very constantly, just so it doesn't clump and just so it mixes nice and evenly. So go ahead and pour that in there and stir, stir, stir. Then you're going to whisk in your chicken stock, 3 cups of chicken stock. Just whisk that in there. You're going to want to turn up the heat so you can bring it to a boil for about a minute, and then bring it back down to a simmer, and you're going to want to simmer for about 15 minutes. Again, just stirring not constantly, but so it doesn't stick to the bottom. So just every once in a while you're going to want to give that a stir. You're going to slowly add your 4 cups of milk and simmer for another 15 minutes. Now here you want to be careful that it doesn't get to boiling once you add that milk, or it's going to make it kind of curdle a little, and no one wants that in their soup. So just kind of watch it, make sure the heat's nice and low, and it's on a very, very gentle simmer for about 15 minutes. Once you've done that, remove your pot from the heat, and you're going to go ahead and add in your cheese, stir it in, and you're going to add in your Tabasco sauce, your Worcestershire sauce, and your salt and pepper. These are you're just going to do to taste. So taste it and see whatever your preference is. Go ahead and add that. And you're going to want to stir it in until all the cheese is melted and the soup is nice and smooth. And for today's sprinkling of pixie dust, I have, it's a Moosehead Lager. It's from Canada. And I got this because this is what they like to serve with the soup. It makes a great pairing for the soup at the Food and Wine Festival. So this is my sprinkling of pixie dust for today. I'm going to use this in our soup. And I think that's just going to taste really nice. So after you've mixed it and the cheese is all nice and melted and the soup is smooth, you're going to go ahead and add your beer. Make sure it is warm. You do not want to add cold beer. It's, again, going to make your soup clump up. And like I said, we want this to be nice and smooth. So go ahead and add that. And if the soup is too thick, you can add some warm milk to thin it out. Again, you need it to be warm because if you have added cold ingredients, it's going to make that clump up. So go ahead and add that warm milk if you need to thin it out a little bit. So we're all done cooking. All that's left to do is sprinkle it with a little bit of green onions or scallions, and you're all set. Hope you enjoyed this video for our Copycat Canadian Cheddar Cheese Soup. I can't wait to dig in. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and tap the bell so you can be alerted whenever we post a new video. We've got one that comes out every Wednesday. You aren't going to want to miss that. We do recipe videos, we do craft videos, and we do tips and tricks for visiting the parks. So please subscribe, and we hope to see you real soon.